Can we please bring back men coming up to us? Why are you so scared? Why are you so scared of coming up to us? Genuinely, I don't I get it, rejection, okay, I get it. However, if you go up to a girl in a nice way, I don't think you can fail. Honestly.
I went to this bar and I approached this girl that was with her friend. I thought she was really cute and I thought I would go over and say hi. As soon as I went up to her, she gave me the dirtiest fucking look any girl's ever given me. I was like, what the hell? And she was like, no. And I was like, I just walked away. But that right there is why so many guys are afraid of approaching women. That's literally the reason why a lot of guys don't do it.
What's good, guys? It's your boy JostenJ coming to you with another video. Let's cook, boys. Let's cook. All right. This is why men aren't approaching women. Okay? This is dating in 2025. Now, for all the men that are still approaching women, making things happen with women, kudos to you. You're still out there. You're still on the hunt. You're making things happen. This video is just explaining as to why men don't really approach like that. There's going to be some things in this video that not a lot of men understand, not a lot of women understand. So keep your ears perked up for this, all right? So let's get into some clips.
Where do single men between the ages of 28 and 40 go on Saturdays? And I don't mean like a specific restaurant or a specific location. I mean, generally speaking. Are they at the gym? Are they at a bar watching football? Are they on a hike? Are they at home doing additional work? Are they at the driving range? Are they getting brunch with their friends? What does a 28 to 40-year-old single man's typical Saturday look like?
I'm so annoyed that the feminist movement and all these very entitled females now made it almost basically impossible for a man to never not seem creepy.
Men looking for casual dates and our relationships is down 50%.
Can somebody explain to me why I don't get approached in public? Do I look mean or something? I don't know.
All right, so I got a couple talking points to go over. Let's get rid of the first one right now. Men still approach women. It's just not the men that women want. Okay? Men still approach women. It's just not the men that the women want. See, women play around with certain dudes. A dude can offer a date. A dude could be a good dude, genuine, chivalrous, straight up with her, not trying to play any games, waste any time. And because he's not her particular type, she will keep him on the back burner, maybe go out on a date or two, but nothing will ever progress from there. Nothing will ever be serious between the two of them. Now, is that the woman's fault? No. But you can't double back and say that men aren't approaching women anymore. You see this time and time out, right? A guy can approach a woman. She might not think anything of him and overlook that guy, right? Then tries to deal with the guy, chase after a guy she really wants. It goes nowhere. But the first guy was really a good pick for her. He had the best intentions. He was trying to set things up. She was being flaky, right? All over the place, wishy-washy. So the guy just moves on. And eventually that guy does get with a woman who appreciates him, or not at all. He takes his L and he goes on. So it's very disingenuous when women say that men aren't approaching them. Men do approach them at their job. They might have a hobby. They might take up some activity, even at the gym. They're just not that hot about that guy. So it's like they get to double dip. They get to be approached, say that, I don't really feel any type of way about that guy. He's not my cup of tea, which is fine. But then they reserve the right to say, well, men don't approach us like that. It's not true. Let's get into the next one. Women's window for approaching slows down. There's a time limit on this. I explained this in another video that had the similar topic of today's video. Women are getting approached 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, even 27, even 28. As long as they're putting themselves out there in position to be approached in the right venues, in the right spaces, collecting the right hobbies, they're going to interact with dudes that are into them. Okay? It's only until it hits 30, 31, 32, and even then they're still getting approached. But as they get older, it slows down. For instance, have you ever seen a cougar or a MILF or an older chick, right, that you thought was pretty attractive? You get to striking up a conversation and she's like, wait a minute, me? Oh my God, thank you. And starts blushing and everything. It's because it doesn't happen that often. Now, when they're younger, it's easier to tell you, get out of my face. No, I'm not interested. I have a boyfriend. Ew. Older women will sit there, interact with you, and as long as the vibe is right, you're going to get the number. It doesn't come around like that. It doesn't come around like that. So that's another thing men have to understand too. And women, actually. Your window for approaching is going to slow down. Think about it. When I was younger, we used to go to the mall. We used to go to festivals. We used to go to raves. We used to go to keggers. We used to go to bonfires. All of this. Approach women, talk to women, all the time. As you get older, right, you're going to find out the women that really like me, I don't have to do that much, right? So it's not to say that you don't need to approach, but on the flip side, as you get older, it's not that important to you. It's not that important to women. On the flip side, it's not that important to them in the beginning. Later, it's important to them. No, there's a time window on this. The best way that it works is for women to just get with guys that they like when they're younger. Pick one of those guys, because the more you go on, there's not going to be a lot of guys out here. And the older a guy gets, he's not really worried about it like that. Next point, men that are confident, men that are self-sufficient, men that are sexually attractive. You can even say conventionally attractive. They are not into over pursuing. I'm going to say that again. They are not into over pursuing. Now, if you're one of these guys, you have the utmost respect and confidence for yourself. Women nowadays want you to do a bunch of stuff to get at them, but what are they going to do for you? When you understand this, you're not over pursuing a woman. All it does is make you feel worse. You will set up the plans. You will reiterate that you're setting up the plans. Are we still on? You'll check in. That is all. There's none of this, are we still on? I just wanted to make sure, and acting so needy and thirsty and desperate. That's not how this goes, especially for a man who likes himself and he's just looking to get the energy reciprocated. So a lot of times women overestimate their own value and they want a guy to jump through all these hoops. What happens is men say no. No. And when men say no, that opportunity goes bye-bye. Now, one thing I will say is when you really like a woman in your younger years, you will over pursue a bunch of times, and then you'll figure out that it gets you nowhere. So your new standard is I'm not over pursuing. Luckily for younger guys nowadays, we make this type of content. They're having access to this information and they say to themselves, okay, I've done this 1 or 2 times already. It didn't get me anywhere. I'm actually dealing with the women that really like me and bring good energy. Damn, it's giving me a good return. So then the new standard becomes I can't over pursue. It gets me nowhere. The next point. Women have said that they don't want to be bothered. Unfortunately for them, men listen to them. See, we're logical in that sense. You might need to get some coaching, get on a coaching call with me or somebody else to understand the ins and outs and the intricacies. But at the end of the day, the internet is everywhere. You open your phone, you'll see something. You'll hear something. You'll overhear women talking. Men assess things pretty quickly when they're intelligent for the most part. So if women are saying they don't want to be bothered, right? Why bother? You understand? When you understand this too, the more attractive you become too, you will see women looking for you to approach them. You will see women double taking at you. You will see women trying to strike up a conversation with you, right? Shows that they're showing interest. But until then, a lot of men, it's safe to assume that she doesn't want to be bothered. And when you assume that she doesn't want to be bothered, you know, you can miss out on a lot of opportunities, but at the same time, I think a lot of men rather be safe than be sorry. But they're just simply listening to what women say. And unfortunately for them, women mess it up for everybody then. A lot of men don't have confidence. I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong. It's just the explanation. A lot of men don't have the confidence to say, well, I'm not listening to what she says. I'm going to do whatever I want to do. This is exactly why men don't understand that happy wife, happy life isn't a thing. It really doesn't exist. It always leads you down a bad dead end road when it comes to women and relationships and loyalty. Women want to be put in their place. They want to be told what to do to a certain extent. They want a man who's a man's man. You understand? But guys think, no. I just have to be nice and do all of this stuff and be sweet to her. And, you know, everything's it's going to be to the benefit of me and our relationship. No, that's not true 100% of the way. That is not true. See, when you listen to them, it leaves you messed up. But then there's some times where you listen to them and it leaves them messed up. Unfortunately, men have listened to them when they said they don't want to be bothered. This point that I'm about to bring up right now isn't really talked about, but deep down inside, women know it's true. They're just battling with their own ego. Women that speak up, men genuinely get on with. Okay? I'm going to use dating apps for an example. So when you match with a girl on a dating app and she sends the first message and she's bubbly, she's welcoming, right? You're like, okay, this is pretty cool. You hit it off, you start having a conversation. There's no one-word responses. She's actually asking you questions back when you're asking questions. Hell, you could even say something that's basically talking at her. She'll ask you a question. She's trying to lighten the mood. She's trying to carry things on. Those women get the best responses from men. Those women get the best responses from men because it shows that they're taking initiative to put in some effort. So the man's like, I gotta definitely put in effort here. This chick is cool. Women nowadays want you to put in all the effort, not just leading, want you to put in all the effort and drag things on as they're not really that interested in you, giving you one-word answers, literally just not about it. So dudes are like, wait a minute. I got women that give me this energy over here, way better over here. See, women think that men love a challenge. To a degree, that is true. But a challenge and being difficult are two completely different things. So when it seems like it's pulling teeth and it's difficult, men don't want to deal with it. And if this keeps happening over a bunch of times, and then men see good energy from other women happening right after that, where do you think they're going to go? Women can have a big ego all they want. They can think that they're the best thing ever, but that's typically not going to lead you anywhere, but to having a bigger overinflated ego. When women give men good bubbly energy, men like that. They want to keep pursuing that because it shows that she's putting in genuine effort to get to know him as well. So then he'll move forward with her. When women don't do this, they're typically not going to get approached because men are not going to keep trying again. And the other options that they have, they don't really want. Next point. A lot of men don't think that they'll make the cut. Now, it's kind of their fault, but a lot of guys see where they're at and they just accept it. I tell you to be the best you that you can be. I tell you to have your body game on point. I tell you to have your sexual attractiveness on point. I tell you to be charming, charismatic. But to me, that's just everything that a man just is about. Naturally being himself. A lot of guys don't feel that way about themselves. A lot of guys listen to women saying they want money and want this, and they think to themselves, right? I'm gonna just build myself up. Not to necessarily give the money to the woman, but I'm not in the right headspace right now to be dating. If you're taking what women say seriously, you're like, well, I'm not complete. I'm not a complete package yet, so I'm gonna take some time to work on me. Then there's the other side of men that are just like, I'm done completely. I don't measure up. I feel invisible. Now that's okay. You can always turn the tables. If you're average one place, you won't be average everywhere. Don't fight to think that I'm so average. Your height is the only thing that you can't change. But this is a reason why men don't really approach women that much. And it goes back to the other point I was making. Most men aren't women's initial type. I go on to say that most women who get married or end up in relationships, that guy wasn't even their first choice. And it doesn't mean first guy she's ever slept with, ever hooked up with, ever interacted with. No, just ideally not a guy that she wants to do everything for. When it feels like she'll do anything for you, you're her first choice. But most men are accepting that they won't be a woman's first choice. And it could be because that's how they feel about themselves, or it's that they're listening to everything that women say. So that's why men don't approach on that end too. I think I touched on this before in the video, but I want to reiterate it again. Grown men, their lives don't revolve around women. Grown men have things to do, have hobbies, have interests, right? They have a relationship with self, positive self-talk. So it's kind of always about hanging out with your family. You might have kids, you're hanging out with your kids. You're getting things done that need to be done. Your life doesn't revolve around women. It's to the point where it's like this. If a woman comes in my life, cool. If she doesn't, cool. Once again, this is a young man's game, chasing women around. Leaving your house for the sole purpose of, I'm going to approach 150 women today. It's a young man's game. Now, if you're older and you still do it, you're still clubbing, you're still drinking, you're doing all of that shit, kudos to you. But let's stick with the facts. A big majority of men do not live their lives to go outside and approach women by the masses. They just don't. If you meet a cool woman, you meet a cool woman. If you don't, you don't. Life goes on. Okay? And women can't grasp that. They can't understand that. Wait a minute, like, a man's mission isn't to just approach a bunch of women and to please a bunch of women and to chase a woman to pay for things and to court and to be chivalrous. No. Simply put, no. And if you're a man that understands or you feel what I'm saying right now, there's nothing wrong with you. You do not live your life for women. You live your life for yourself. Women have an overinflated sense of ego a lot of the times, and they think that men should just be at their disposal at all times. And that ain't the truth. 2 more points. We're getting there. All right. Women don't understand that dating isn't really for you as a woman when you're in your mid 30s, 40s, even your early 30s. Yes, it can happen, but it's not really in your favor the older you get. People can get along with other people. I'm not saying that it's impossible. What I'm saying is, I seen on Instagram the other day, one of my old homies, right? He was with his girl since he was 15. They're finally getting married, and they're like 26, 27. 26, 27, something like that. They're getting married. It is in your best interest for all women. If you want to have a little fun, have your fun. Get with a guy by the time you're 24, 25, 26, 23. Get it over with. The longer that you're out here, it's not going to be good for you on the back end. Women are always saying they want this put together guy, this guy with money. Well, if you want this guy, let's focus on what he wants. Right? If you're older, you can't demand all of this stuff from a man up front. A lot of women are single and happy alone. But then there's a lot of women that say this stuff to themselves, and it's complete BS. Another situation, I was just overhearing a conversation. A woman broke up with the man because she thought the money that he made was inadequate. It's probably off by like $15,000. There's a good dude, had a good job, but you know, she had a house, the strong and independent thing. She ends up breaking up with this guy, only for 2 months later to say that she misses him and like she misses having a body next to her in the bed at night. And it's just not the same. You don't have anybody to call and talk about your day too and blah, 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 blah. Pushing 40. They buy into the hype, and a lot of it is not true. Now remember, she broke up with this guy for just a delusional money reason. Well, what if we tie finances and whatever, right? But then at the end of the day, the things that you can't buy, she's missing. So is it about the money or is it about the connection? See, they're always fighting with themselves the older that they get. This is a young woman's game. Dating is a young woman's game. It's not an older woman's game. So if you notice a lot of these videos that come out on the internet, there are some young women sprinkled in there, but they're always either late 20s, 30s, 40s. It's not a younger woman's thing to be like, men don't approach us and I don't have luck and da-da-da-da. It's always as they get older, which leads you to believe that it's not for them when they get older. Can it happen? Yes, but it's best to date when you're younger as a woman. It's gonna get worse out here in 2025. Last point I wanna make on this video, let's wrap this up. Some men simply get better results with women without approaching them at all. Apps, social circles, work, hobbies, interests, etc. A lot of men think that, apps are weird and this is weird and blah, blah, blah. It's not only dating apps. Men crush it on dating apps that are objectively, there is no, you're not going to be every woman's type. But a woman's like, yeah, I definitely want to go to his house. Yeah, I definitely want to share energy with this guy. When a guy is attractive like that, where it's a fact. A lot of dudes that actually know how to talk to women at the same time and make them feel a certain type of way, they kill it on dating apps. Don't get into the intricacies of, yeah, but they're a 4 and they're a 5 and they're a this. No. Because another talking point, average women don't want average men. So we got to X all this out. Don't focus on who she is or whatever. Focus on the men that kill it on apps. They're not complaining about a damn thing. Then you got dudes, even though I advise you, if you can't walk through the fire, approaching women and dating at your job, it's not going to be the best option. But a lot of dudes can walk through the fire. A lot of dudes won't feel a certain type of way when she stops messing with them and stuff. So dudes get on with chicks at their job. Dudes might practice Muay Thai, might practice jujitsu, boxing. You might be in a runner's club, right? And you meet women that way. You might go read books and like to shop for books every, Saturday. You might meet a chick in there. You say hello. You sit next to somebody. You talk to somebody. And then you get on that way. It's not simply you just approaching random women in the wild. Nobody ever talks about that too. Men that have good success and results with women that don't do a bunch of approaching. That don't. And then they never talk about this. Women that actually smile, wave, look pleasant, look open to talk to guys. Guys go toward them and give them good energy. They get the number, they talk a little bit, things happen. But that's all off of the woman putting in effort. Women are really complaining about, why are men not approaching me as I'm just minding my business? That still happens. It just doesn't happen that much where it's like, oh my God, I got all these options and my head is all souped up. No, it's rather a phone full of, just DMs from guys that they don't really want. Always remember that. Don't get down on yourself. Don't think, well, I should be out here approaching women by the dozens and by the this and by the that. Bro, if you got a bigger goal in life to chase, man, chase that goal. Women are always going to be here. Always going to be here. But I made this video kind of because I know my content is basically for men, to create stronger men, right? But at the same time, if a woman is listening to this, this can actually save her a bunch of wasted time. The reason why men don't really approach women nowadays, it's not even based on solely just rejection and being disrespectful and pulling your phone out. There's way more other reasons as to why men don't approach women like that. And once again, I'm gonna say it before we close this out. Men do approach women. Men do approach women. And if it's not happening to you, it's just your luck of the draw. And don't forget, it does happen, but women aren't attracted to the men approaching them. So if you don't understand, hope that made a lot of sense as to why men don't do it that much nowadays. It still happens, but this is why, okay? Hit the notification button, subscribe, like, comment, all of that stuff. Let me know what you think. Do you approach women? Do you not approach women? Let me know what your experience has been. Get in the comments. Until then, see you in the next video. It's your boy, JostenJ. Get with you boys in the next video. Like, comment, subscribe. Let's go, boys. Let's go.
Let me say this. This is for the ladies. Today is the youngest that you're ever going to be. So without disrespect, if a man is approaching you, telling you that you're beautiful, saying that, hey, smile more, hey, I like you, or I'm interested, be flattered. Be appreciative. Because like I just said, today is the youngest that you're ever going to be. Men aren't always going to be asking you for your number. They're not always going to be telling you that you're beautiful. They're not going to be all up in your face. They're not going to be catcalling you at the gas station. One day, you're not going to be attractive or desirable by men. So appreciate the fact that men approach you. Appreciate the fact that they find you attractive right now, because I do. And when men approach me, I appreciate it and I give them conversation. So I need y'all to get y'all shit together.
Good morning. I have a couple questions. Maybe y'all can help me out. Here in Florida, since I just moved here about 4 months ago, men are very different. They don't court you. Whatever happened to flowers and phone calls and good morning babe and good night babe and let's go get lunch or breakfast, or hey, do you want to go look at the sunset? I don't fucking know. But that's gone now. Men don't do that. It's you gotta be the man, and that's so unattractive when you gotta pull out your masculine energy because the dude is too soft. It's wake up, dudes. Be a man. Build something. I don't know. I'll cook. You build. I mean, on a date, take the lead. I don't understand. It's situationships all day long. It just... It's so unattractive. I don't get it. Can somebody explain it? Or is it me? I don't know. Let me know.